We crave stories, yearn for them, stories to escape, stories to find ourselves. But what happens when the story knows it's a story? What happens when the characters know they're characters? This is metafiction. It's fiction aware of its own fictional nature. It's a mirror reflecting the act of storytelling itself. Metafiction isn't just clever trickery, it's a profound exploration of fiction's power and limitations. It questions the very act of creation. It dismantles the illusion of reality we often seek in stories, and in doing so it offers a unique, sometimes unsettling, perspective on our own realities. Metafiction invites us to question, to think critically, to go beyond passive consumption. It pushes us to engage with the story as a construct, a crafted experience, not just a window to another world. It reminds us that even in fiction, we're always looking at reflections of ourselves. Metafiction is characterized by several distinct features. One is self-reflexivity. This means the story consistently draws attention to its own artificiality. Characters might acknowledge they're in a book, a film, a play. The narrative might directly address the reader or viewer. Another hallmark is the blurring of boundaries between fiction and reality. The author might insert themselves into the story. Fictional events might spill over into the real world. The line between what's real and what's imagined becomes deliberately ambiguous. Metafiction often employs experimental narrative techniques, non-linear storytelling, unreliable narrators, fragmented perspectives. These tools dismantle traditional storytelling conventions. The result is a story that's less about plot and more about exploring the nature of fiction itself. One of the most intriguing aspects of metafiction is the author's presence within the narrative. This can take many forms. The author might become a character. They might directly address the reader, commenting on the story's progress. They might even question their own role in creating the fiction. This intrusion challenges the traditional distance between creator and creation. It shatters the illusion of an objective, detached narrator. The author becomes a participant, subject to the same scrutiny as the characters themselves. This blurring of boundaries forces us to reconsider the nature of authorship. Is the author a godlike figure dictating reality, or are they just another player in a game they don't fully control? Metafiction suggests the answer is far more complex than we might assume. Metafiction doesn't just deconstruct storytelling, it also redefines the reader's role. By acknowledging its own artifice, metafiction invites the reader to become a more active participant. We're no longer passive consumers of a finished product. We're invited to question, to analyze, to co-create the meaning of the story. This active engagement can be unsettling. Metafiction often denies us the comfort of escapism. It forces us to confront the limitations of fiction, the constructed nature of reality, but it also offers a more intellectually stimulating experience. Metafiction doesn't offer easy answers. It provokes questions. It encourages dialogue. It transforms the act of reading from a passive reception to an active dialogue between reader, author, and text. Metafiction has had a profound impact on the landscape of literature. It has challenged traditional notions of plot, character, and narrative structure. It has opened up new possibilities for exploring the nature of reality and the power of storytelling. Examples abound. Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes, often cited as one of the earliest examples of metafiction, plays with the boundaries between sanity and delusion, fiction and reality. Italo Calvino's If on a Winter's Night a Traveller directly addresses the reader, drawing them into the creative process. My own work, Antkind, explores the nature of memory, identity, and the very act of writing. It's a story about stories, a metafictional journey into the mind of an obsessive film critic struggling to reconstruct a lost masterpiece. Metafiction is more than just a literary technique. It's a reflection of our own increasingly self-aware culture. In a world saturated with information, where the lines between reality and simulation are constantly blurring, metafiction offers a way to grapple with these complexities. It reminds us that stories, even fictional ones, are never truly separate from our lives. They shape our perceptions, our understanding of the world, even our own sense of self. Metafiction encourages us to examine these influences, to question the stories we tell ourselves and the stories we consume. By exposing the mechanics of storytelling, metafiction doesn't diminish the power of fiction. Instead, it enhances it. It reveals the depth, the complexity, the endless possibilities of this uniquely human art form. It reminds us that even in a world of artifice, the search for meaning remains profoundly real.